intellectual property first. What is it? Great question. Glad you asked. According to the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, intellectual property, or IP, as we call it most of the time, refers to creations of the mind, inventions, literary and artistic works, symbols, names, images, and designs used in commerce. Intellectual property. Four legally defined categories of IP. Excuse me. You got patents, and that's a patent is something that you put on an invention. You invent a new way of making coffee, right? Well, you would patent that, and you would register that with the government. A trademark, that's a name, Coca-Cola, and you see that little trademark sign beside trademark. That's a name, phrase, symbol, sound used to associate with services or with products. All you big companies have trademarks, and you just can't arbitrarily use that trademark because those trademarks are registered. Copyright, these laws that protect written or artistic expressions fixed in a tangible, keyword there, tangible medium. Like myself, I dabble in music and recording, so whenever we write a song, we record that song, we get it copyrighted. So that way no one else can just come and use that without written consent from me, the information owner. As well as trade secrets. Trade secrets are pretty interesting. Like I said, Coca-Cola's formula, the herbs and spices that Colonel Sanders used in Kentucky Fried Chicken. All of these things are formulas, patterns, or a device or compilation of data that grants a user an advantage over competitors. Interesting thing about this one. Okay. Now, if someone, they could do copyright infringement, trademark infringement, patents, and yes, there's laws that I can sue and whatever. If someone finds out your trade secret because you didn't keep it a secret, that's your problem. That's a you problem. Okay. You really can't take someone to court because they found out your trade secret, and now it's public. Very difficult. But these others, there are laws in place that if someone copyrights infringes, one of my songs, I could take legal action and get that taken care of. So, what is the value of IP, intellectual property? I tell you, this is huge. This is huge. Because IP in a lot of instances it's recognized as the most important asset of many of the world's largest, most powerful companies. Their intellectual property. Not so much what they make, but how they make it. Okay? Coca-Cola, again, they're more concerned about their secret recipe and their trademark for Coca-Cola than someone stealing, 2 truckloads of Coke. Because, hey, we can always make more. Not concerned about that. A warehouse can burn down. Got it. Not a problem. However, if we lose, the intellectual property associated with our product, what we're doing, now that's hurting business for a long time to come. The creative work has value. There's value there. Here again, I dabble in music, right? So, with that said, if someone steals a CD out of my car, I'm not that concerned. However, if someone steals that CD and I have it copyrighted, and then they reproduce that and go out and try to sell it and make money on it, now we have problems. Okay, now we have problems. If something is taken, now we talk about piracy, or does it constitute free use? We're going to talk about it a little bit more as we go. So, intellectual property laws. I tell you, there's really three laws that cover intellectual property. Title 17, that's the copyright law of the United States. Like I say, that gets into what can be copyrighted, how long something can stay under copyright before it goes into public domain, and things of that nature. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and this now gets into not just copywriting anything, but really now in a digital environment, how do we control and maintain copyright over digital media and things of that nature. Then the WIPO, which is the World Intellectual Property Organization Treaty. And this was a treaty across multiple countries, an international treaty that has to deal with how IP, intellectual property, is handled. Now, intellectual property laws, really they were seen at the beginning as an economic incentive to promote and generate and the distribution of creative works by excluding unauthorized uses of a work. The intent was that if you created something, you should be the one, to benefit from that, whether economically or, from a popularity, in whatever way, but really economically, the person who created a work should be the one who benefits from that work. And like I said, copyright protection traits off the cost of limiting access to work against the benefits of providing incentives to creating the work. So yeah, if the and I use this as an example. I have a good friend of mine who plays guitar, and many times he does guitar work on some of the songs we do. Now he's a contributor, however, he's a laborer. He provides labor, to that work, but the work itself, is still something that I own. Or if I play keyboards for someone else, same thing. That is not my intellectual property. It is their intellectual property. I am just providing labor to that. So this is really important because depending on where you may work, sometimes we think that, well, look, I came up with this great idea at work, or I developed a new process. Well, but still, it's the company that own that, because you did it on company time, because you are a laborer for that company. You got paid by the hour, or you got paid a salary or a commission to provide labor. Now you get that patented, yes, but the patent still is going to fall under the umbrella of that company, because the works that you did was for the company, not for yourself. Now you go home after work and you come up with some new software program that does whatever, go for it. However, be sure that you're not infringing on your organization's intellectual property and you're bringing that stuff home. So always maintain that line between where you work and what you do outside of work. So really, at the end of the day, this IP law, intellectual property law, is trying to strike a balance between access and incentives for intellectual property. And that's really sometimes gets very, very tricky. Very, very tricky. And here's what I mean by that. Because now we get into this thing called piracy or fair use. What's piracy? Piracy meaning that somebody came and stole something and used it to make money on. And what's fair use? Here's an example. Okay? A mother was sued by the Universal Music Group, UMG, for putting a video on YouTube of her 13-month-old baby dancing to the Prince song, Let's Go Crazy. Yes, because if you remember Prince, the artist, he's passed away, but he was very, very tight, very close hold on all of his music, okay? And Universal Music Group was aware of that, and very aware of that. So you didn't see a lot of Prince music just arbitrarily out there on YouTube. This has been a few years ago. So now, you have this, there was a lady, I think she was in the kitchen or wherever, and Let's Go Crazy was playing on an MP3 or wherever in the background, and the little 13-month-old she was just out there, just kind of, bouncing with it, and she grabbed her camera, recorded it, put it on YouTube, start getting, lots and lots of likes, and, if you know YouTube, if you monetize a video, then you'll start making money on that. Now that's where we have a problem, because now she's making money using a Prince song in the background that she's not giving him credit for, right? So it's not just about the little 13-month-old baby. Now you're using someone else's intellectual property, their works, and you are profiting from that. I know when most people first read this, go, are you serious? Prince, why would you do that? Put yourself in his shoes, okay? Let's say you came up with a new cookie recipe, and these are the best chocolate chip cookies ever, and you make, and you want to sell these cookies because you found out, wow, they're really good, okay? And you make a batch of cookies, you take them to your friend's house so she can try some. She eats one, loves it. She takes the rest of them to her friend who owns an ice cream shop, and they use your cookie in the bottom of a bowl with a scoop of ice cream on it, and they name it something, and they start selling it and making big money on it. How would you feel? Like, wait a minute. Whoa, that cookie was not your cookie. That was my cookie. So yeah, so it sounds pretty horrible when we think about people who have lots of money. How could they be so cruel? Sounds different when we put ourselves into the same place. Yes, we all want to have, access to our intellectual property. So the question then becomes, is this fair use of media? I mean, it's a song that's been played over and over. Is that fair use, or is it piracy of an icon? Really, Prince, a cultural icon. Was that piracy or was it fair use? And that ended up in court. But yeah, that's the dilemma that social networks, social media, peer-to-peer file sharing, home computers bring to the table now in this landscape of IP. Because now I can go grab anybody's song, throw it in the background, and I am making money on this, and that individual who made that song is not getting the royalties or the recognition that they should be. So piracy or fair use? Huge questions, huge ethical question. It's a huge moral question, and it's a huge legal question. Hey, see what I did there? Yeah, I tied that back to one of my earlier modules. Ethics, morals, and the law. So, fair use. In determining whether a challenge activity qualifies as fair use, the court system, they employ what we call a multi-factor balancing test. Some of the things they consider: the purpose and the character of the use, whether it is commercial or non-commercial. That's one of the factors. They look at the nature of the work. Okay, factual works are entitled to less protection than purely creative. What do we mean by that? If I am do a documentary, and all I do in this documentary is just pull facts from other places, then really that's not creative. However, like Prince, a songwriter, and that song comes out of his mind onto paper, instruments, and he writes the music, all that. Now that's a purely creative work that came from here. Like I said, if I'm just bringing pieces together of things that are already known, that's what we mean by the nature of the work. The amount and the sustainability of the portion of the work used. Okay, had that been just a small, small clip of Prince's music in the background, maybe not so much. But if you're going to sit there and watch the baby dance through the whole song, yeah, so it's different. When we talk about the amount and how sustainable. The effect of the use upon the potential market of the work. Now, baby dance, the Prince song, don't know. But let's say that something goes viral now on social media. Now, that's a huge impact. Years ago, that impact would have been minimal. Even if she had videoed it, only maybe a few people in her immediate circle would have probably seen that video. But today, in a matter of hours, that video can go around the world, and you got hundreds, you got millions of hits. And now the impact is huge. All right, when we finish, we're going to come back, and we're going to finish this up talking about digital rights management. And this next session ties directly into intellectual property. So we'll be right back.